All right. Woo. Look. I got that wow. Who wants some hands up right now? We got that. Turn it up loud. I know you're wondering how. I got that wow. Here I go, coming. I can't ever stop. I'm a tour de force running. Get me to the top. I don't need an invitation. I'm about to start a celebration.
Hello, ladies. Cheers.
Good evening.
Cheers.
I don't have anything.
Your glass is very see-through.
Yes. And I'm already parched.
Uh-oh. Do you need to get up and go get a drink?
Yeah, maybe.
Were you not very organized ahead of this?
Were you coming in hot?
Yeah.
It's coming in very hot.
Yes.
Okay. I'll do that. It's right over here. You guys can watch me. Keep
All
talking.
right, we'll cover. You go get a beverage.
Yeah. If you're wondering what's going on, this is 3 cocktails in, and we're fully admitting on this episode that we need to get more organized.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've had a rash of things lately. Like we all get on to describe kind of what happens. We all get on this site that we use to record our podcast. And tonight we all got on and I said, what's our topic for tonight? And Kitty says, I don't know. And Amy threw something out we've been talking about for I don't know how long. And so we honestly, I think this one is about organization. And we hopefully between the 3 of us have some good advice to each other.
Yeah.
Stemming from a lack thereof.
Yeah, it's been bubbling up lately. It's a common theme because we all, and it's not just the 3 of us, but I think, we hear from it. We are all overextended in most areas of our life. We're all overscheduled at most time during most days. And so, we just had Memorial Day weekend where none of us knew what day of the week it was.
Right.
Basically. So
I didn't know I had vacation on Monday. Last week, Stacey thought Wednesday was Thursday.
Yeah.
We were all planning to record Sunday, and Kitty says on Sunday morning, can we record Monday?
And then we still thought it was Sunday.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So, you guys, I feel like I should be way more organized now. I only have to take care of me.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I can't seem to get it done.
Yeah. How did we do it with, all kids at home?
Well,
With
you see, I think like a lot of things, you take care of your kids first, you take care of your kids last. So juggling 3 kids in multiple different things, I had a massive calendar. I wrote things on a big chalkboard. So we always knew who was going where, who was driving what. Now that it's just me, I still keep a calendar, a handwritten one. I mean, I have to put work stuff in my CRM, but my life stuff, I write down in part because if I don't write it down, I forget it. But then I find myself with the things, I'll remember that. That memory is not quite as much as I'd like to think it is. It's not quite as good as it used to be.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so there's that. So there's that side of this conversation about just keeping ourselves organized as far as what we have planned for the week or the few weeks or the month or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's talk about that. And then we also need to talk about how do we carve out time for the things that we want to do. And I feel like that's where I'm falling short lately because there are, priorities, there are goals. And so there are things that I need to make sure I'm doing to hit those goals. And if I don't carve out the time for them and protect time for those things on my calendar, they don't get done. And that's a discipline that I feel like I need to build into my daily activity. So I had shared, this came up in conversation, Amy, you and I were having when we were in Vegas. So I've been listening to these other paparazzi consultants and listening to how they function, how their businesses function. And these are elite consultants. These are 6-figure earners, and some of them are 7-figure earners. And they have what they refer to as a DMO, a daily
Mode
method
of operation.
da-
Method. Okay, yeah.
daily method of operation. And
Operation.
I think you can manage this sort of thing in different formats. Many of them build a spreadsheet for it. So it's an Excel spreadsheet or a Google sheet or whatever it is. And so you lay out the 7 days and then you time block for specific things. And so I've started to do that, and I'm going to give it a whirl. I'm going to see if it works. Do you guys have any experience with that? Have you done that?
My last, when I was selling real estate on a team, strongly recommended we time block. We set aside time to do certain things every day. I don't do a particularly good job of it, especially because, and Kitty, we hit on this a little bit, and it's something that I need to do better with 3 cocktails in, because I'm supposed to be really kind of leading the charge on the social media, and I don't. I'm last at it. But I find that it is really hard to schedule creativity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To say, well, from 8 to 9 every morning, I'm going to write social media posts. I'm going to XYZ. My brain doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I need to work on training my brain to do it.
So is it because you think of your good ideas at 11 p.m., not at 8? I mean, all through the day, maybe?
Yes, I see something and I'm like, oh, or I think of something and I go with it. Because I will tell you, those days when I have posted something early in the morning because I felt like I needed to, I look at that post at 2:00 in the afternoon and go, now I know what I wanted to say, what I should have said.
Mm-hmm.
So that's me. I will tell you that one of the people on the team was religious about her time blocking. And in a work setting, I found it a bit, I'll just be honest, I found it a bit frustrating because there were times when she was the only person that could answer my question, and that wasn't part of her time block.
Oh.
And so she was unavailable.
Yeah.
Or she would answer email late in the day and say, well, I'll get back to you tomorrow on this between 10 and 10, 10 and 11. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, that's not going to work.
Yeah, that seems very inflexible. I mean,
that's
I feel like if I set aside time at work, like specific time, could do nothing else, stuff comes up all day long.
Mm-hmm.
Our schedule at work is more, between, my buyer and I. We have something to do at 8:00. We have something to do at 10:00. We have something to do at noon. We have something to do at 1:45, at 3 p.m. and at 4 p.m., specific things. The rest of the time in the middle, is all, making cold calls, answering the phone, completing projects, doing all the other things you have to do every day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So to say that, and it's just a time, it's not a from 8 to 8:30, we're only doing this. And from, you know what I mean? We have so much that, that you can't plan for, that, a time block thing, I don't know. Like I said, I feel like that's pretty inflexible.
Well, it seems like from a team perspective, it would be smart for the whole team's needs to be considered if there's going to be time blocking going on. So that situation, if this person was in support of what you were doing, Amy, then you need to have that support when you need it. So that was very rigid and it just didn't work. Or for what you just described, Stacey, you guys know what all needs to be done in the day. So if if you need to carve out time for, a specific thing that's unique to your business, or Amy, that's unique to your business, that's fine. It's almost like when we were in school, there'd be reading time.
Yes.
right? It's fine to
Yeah.
have blocks, but
It's like homeroom is
yeah.
your block where you
Yeah.
get done what you need to get done.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's probably it's probably the scenario that if you didn't carve out time for reading or homeroom, you wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? You would find other things
Yes.
to do.
Yes.
So yes, going
So
towards, your work day, that's probably for some things probably a good idea.
Mhm.
the only thing I really am, I won't even say rigid, but I have mentally in my head every week at work. And I know we're not really talking about work, but again, in many ways, my work is like your side hustle, Kitty. I don't, yes, I have to answer the phone whenever it rings, but I
Yep.
don't have specific things that have to be done at a specific time. But I send out this weekly newsletter. Realtors that I'm sending it to, they show homes Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I always try and make sure I get my email out to them on Thursday. So so as they're planning their weekend, they know exactly what's new and what's going on. Other than that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's the rest of my day is up to me to challenge, but still leave work at work. It's the stuff at home
Yes.
that is starting to go.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
So Kitty, how have you put any of this time blocking into action?
Yes. And I'm sort of easing into it. And I find that the easiest time of the day to protect is early morning. I have always been a morning person. I think it goes all the way back to the fact that from middle school on, I had a paper out at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I've always been a morning person. Now, the thing is, with my side hustle, I am usually up until at least midnight on the nights that I do shows. So it is hard for me to get up at 5 a.m. when I've been up to midnight. That's a problem that needs to be addressed. But I'm starting with that early morning hour. So our alarm goes off at 5:30. I'm trying to get up. I'm somewhat successful. Get up, make coffee, go to the kitchen island with my laptop, and I do that social media work that I need to do in the morning. And I'm liking it. It's peaceful. I don't feel rushed. I don't feel rushed by realizing, crap, I let myself sleep until 7 or 7:30. Now I have to hurry to, get ready and out the door. I don't like that feeling. So by making myself get up earlier, I'm able to those early, these 2 hours in the morning. So I'm
Correct.
starting with that, and then I'm going to try to continue to tack on to that as I go through the day.
Mhm.
So that's working.
That's good.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
guys keep a calendar? Is it all on your phone? Is
Yeah.
it handwritten? Is
Mine's a
it
Google Calendar. I keep a Google Calendar. Yeah.
Every year I do this. I go, so that week between Christmas and New Year's, I toddle off to Barnes and Noble and I pour over the New Year calendars, cool notebook style, you know, I'm this is going to be my Bible this year. And I pick a really great one every year.
I hear a butt coming.
Yeah, I haven't written in it since February 17th.
When we were in Houston. Madeline's wedding was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I love the idea of one. So Amy, tell us how you use yours, because I know that that's meaningful to you and that works.
Well, it does work, and I've found a stack of mine because I keep them. And what I have
Mm.
kind of realized is they are in some ways a diary as well as
Yeah.
to what
Are you
has happened
journaling?
in my life.
Like you're
I don't re-
you're
I don't
journaling?
really journal, but in my current job, and by the way, I've skipped now going to the store. I've gone down the rabbit hole of online custom journal ordering.
Okay.
You want to talk about giddy and joy? It's almost like a new box of crayons and a brand new, it just makes me so happy to do it, and custom colors. And what do I want? Pages, whatever. First of all, I make sure it's big enough, only big enough for my purse. So I do get a bigger one because I write kind of big and I like to write all sorts of stuff out. But I have goals for work. And so at the beginning of every month, I have my, how many homes do I need to sell? And then as I sell them, I go back to that page and write the name in, who it was, what house number it was. So that'll be really interesting, I think, to go back. Who was the first sale? Who was this? Who was that? I write down every person that comes in, even if they don't want to give me their name, because that happens quite a bit in a model home. People will come in and they don't want to give me their name, but I would write down husband and wife, daughter in Army, being discharged March 2024. Some little note about them.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they do come back. And just having written that part down, it lodges, it stays better. So I do that sort of thing. I write down when the hair appointments are, when the nail appointments are, when dates are, and who it was with. This year is turning out to be a lot of first dates. I'll just say that. I'd like to keep track, which I could. I'm also toying with the idea of writing a book of my year on Match. We'll just see. I don't know that it'll be quite successful by the end of the year, but one never knows.
I have a question. So that would be a cool thing for Match to offer to people. Your year in Match. So just like in Facebook, at the end of the year, it gives us all the
how long you've been friends. Memories.
Friendversary.
You and Chad matched on.
Well, I think it would be like your face in the middle and all these guys you've dated. Their profile pics right around you. Oh, you remember him?
Oh, if only there was some sort of rating system that you could go back in and say, you missed on these things.
There's not.
Really funny.
You can't rate them in on your end?
There's no feedback.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, right. There should be.
Yeah. Kind of like those beer apps and the wine apps. You tried this one, you give it a 4-star. You tried this one, it's only a 1-star. Something like that.
on the wine enthusiast 100 scale, this was a 78.
Yeah. Something like that. Yes.
Yeah. So I write down stuff like that. I don't track like too much more than that in there. But it helps me. I keep it open on my desk. It helps me to have a visual reference as to who was in yesterday, or sometimes I need to go back a couple days. Like, who was that? Especially if I don't get all their information. It's just that I can't put in a CRM. If they don't want to give me an email, I can't put them in a CRM, but I have notes about them. So I try and do that. I don't know.
Yeah. So then I have a question. Don't you feel like that's a double entry, keeping your business contact information? And don't you go put it in the CRM anyway?
If they give me all the information, I have a form that they've filled out, and that I put in the CRM. So in my notebook, it would just say Kitty and Bill, on Tuesday. In the CRM,
would have the detail.
Kitty and Bill gave me their information, I would have them in as a lead, and I would update that. But if it's Kitty and she doesn't want to give me any of her info, and she says my husband constantly, I can't put her in the CRM.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know her last name. I wouldn't,
Yeah.
So.
I'm only asking because we feel like we enter the same thing over and over and over and over, between our different platforms at work.
Well, I only have to enter it once, and then I can make updates if I want. Well, I do make updates to it. But again, you've got, that's different. All leads are not the same. All prospects are not the same.
Yeah.
The people that you put in are a little bit more detailed. Whereas it would be like Kitty, where it says social media. if I don't know if you've broken it down. On Tuesdays, I'm going to do, Instagram story. On Wednesday, I'm going to do a post. On Thursday, I'm doing a video. Sometimes you just don't get that quite into the weeds, especially I would think if you're just beginning.
Yeah.
Some of that stuff, I think you will find a flow to it, or at least I do. Sometimes you get a lot of really good ideas and I use the notes app on my phone quite a bit for jotting down ideas.
Me too.
The hard part is trying to remember what I saved the note under.
Oh, yes. Yes. Or I have a ton of notes that I just never go back to read. You know what I mean? They're
It's like
so
all the stuff
far.
that's saved in my Instagram. All those posts that I save and never remember to go back and
To
find.
go back and look at. Yeah,
So it comes back to organization.
it does. Yeah, it does.
There are so many things that we could talk about on the topic of organization. The something that just popped into my mind is when you were talking about journaling versus not journaling. So my mom doesn't journal, but she has always kept a notebook of every holiday that we've had and what she's served.
Oh, I have that. I do have that.
That's, and I wish I had done that, but you know what? We don't entertain like they do. I mean, we don't have any family here, so we're never hosting Christmas. We're rarely, we're never hosting Thanksgiving. They are. And so that she's loved having that record of, in 1986, we had, whatever. I'm not sure how far it goes back, but she's been doing it for a long time. And
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. And that'll be cool to pass
That's
on.
the only thing my girls want that I know of. Madeline has already called dibs that she gets the menu notebook.
Yeah.
The holiday and menu notebook.
Yeah.
That's a good idea, because doesn't your mom put the recipes and everything with it? So she just has to go back and look at that.
I can tell you which dessert were served at Thanksgiving in 2021. What, because they're family favorites.
Yeah.
And sometimes a recipe looks really good and you try it and you got to write that note down.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
And also
either a no or how you want to change it.
Yeah. Too much nutmeg. That pops up in a lot of the things that I make. I don't like nutmeg. Too much nutmeg. So this is just a total aside, but it does come back to organization, generally speaking. Recipes. Do you have a cookbook? Are you tagging and saving things online? Where do you store them? Our dear friend Christine, I don't even remember offhand what recipe it is, but every time she wants the recipe, she sends me a text and asks for it. And it is like annually. I'm like, could you save it this time? Because I got to dig through and find it, sort of thing. How about you guys? How do you organize the rest of your stuff?
Yeah.
My recipes are a disaster. So not a good example here at all.
Well, you can be our what not to do.
Yeah. A while ago, so Madison was probably, I don't know, early high school, maybe even junior high. I took a 3-ring binder and put the clear sheets in it. And she made a pretty cover, inside on it, I don't know I can't even remember what's written on it or whatever, but it's my recipes. So I even take like the recipe cards, that I've had and it's just the favorites. So it's just the ones that I make all the time. I have another recipe box that has some I might think of, let's have a new idea and go through, and then of course, various recipe books that I know what is in a recipe book. But here's going to be the challenge, because my 85-year-old mother cannot remember what cookbook she has recipes. She's made things forever, and now she can't find the recipes. So before we get to that point, we need to really figure out how to organize it. So she does the same thing. She'll call me and say, hey, do you still have the recipe for this and this and whatever, whatever? And yes, and then I'll tell it to her because she can't remember anymore what book it was in or where she put it, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's our
do.
challenge. Yes, there's our challenge for the next 30 years. We got to get that figured out.
Yep.
It really does seem like that should have been something our children should have been required to do for like a badge.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Organize my
Organize
let's face
my
it.
time.
Our kids are either going to have to organize us early or late.
Yes.
When there's an option that we could opt in and could have followed a path, or at the end when I'm wheeled out and now they got to sort through everything, seems to me like they should have taken it upon themselves to act sooner.
Sooner, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the buck.
We'll see. When my kids listen to this, we'll see which one volunteers.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
not.
Amy, random question. How are your coaching sessions going with Miss Shannon?
I've had 2. I need to schedule a third. I need to schedule it in June. It's good. I've got a sheet here that with some notes that I had written down, and something was circumstance, thought, feeling, action, result. When I'm faced with anxiety or something uncomfortable, I need to think about the circumstances, just so I've taken some notes and put some stuff into action.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Are you supposed to be working on those things, I assume? I mean, that's what your thought process is supposed to go to those things and then.
Right. To try and break them down. The last time that we talked was really focusing on learning how to sit with your feelings, to identify feelings. I think we talked about that a little bit, that,
Yeah.
I had no idea that feelings could be crunchy
Mhm.
or smooth or blue or, or whatever.
Yeah.
I have been trying to identify how different feelings manifest themselves in my body.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of this. The relaxation of the shoulders, the deep breath,
Mhm.
So yeah, it's good. It's really interesting. I'm liking it a lot.
Good.
Yeah.
Can that help with your organization because you're not spending so much time worrying about this and getting anxious on this, and you know what I mean? Come in full circle.
Interestingly, part of that is very true. My default is to have had, when I'm not looking forward to a situation, to imagine every possible outcome or circumstance and prep for every single one, which logically sounds like a good thing, but in reality, you're just dwelling on stuff that you have no control over. You have no control how the other person is going to react.
Mhm.
And that's not your responsibility, how they handle whatever it is you're going to say or present. So yes, part of what we're talking about is, you got to let that part go and just accept that this feeling, what's the circumstance? What are you thinking about it? What are you feeling about what can you do? What's your action that you can do?
Mhm.
And then what's the result? So a little less organization on my part and a little bit more of, trying not to control the outcome.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's an old saying that if you want something done, you should give it to the busiest person because they'll find the time to do it. Did you know that?
Wow.
I noticed that.
Nobody's ever heard that.
I've noticed it actually in action.
Yeah.
And I used to point it out when asking for Girl Scout volunteers.
Yep.
If you looked around the room at the beginning of the year Girl Scout get together and people are trying to put their daughters into a troop, but the troop needs volunteers. At one meeting, I actually said, "Okay, I would like everybody to stand up and stay standing until one of these things does not apply to you." And it was, you volunteer in schools, you volunteer at your church, you coach a baseball team, you organize, and all of the existing Girl Scout leaders did
All
everything,
of the things. Yeah.
all of the things.
Yep.
So yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, I do too.
But what do we do when we don't have anybody else to do it?
Mhm.
We can't offload.
Yeah.
We can't, Kitty can't get somebody else to do her stuff for her. Can you train Bo to do some of your tasks and add him to the payroll?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I can.
Is he interested in it?
He is. He's interested in it until I say, okay, tomorrow let's sit down so I can, train you on this specific task that you could do every day. And then it ends up, his availability doesn't seem to line up with mine, so then it doesn't happen. So I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
well, then you don't really want to do this if you're not going to
Yeah.
make time for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the opposite of, giving it to the busiest people, I think is also your priorities. So like if you ask somebody, can you do this? And they'll say, oh, I just don't have the time. No, I can't do that. I don't have the time. You hear that a lot. And I always think, well, what's wrong with from 10 to 10:30? You can't like block a time or stay up a half hour later. People that, it goes back to your mom. I'm sure when she's getting ready to host a holiday, she's, finding all the time she can to
Mhm.
get ready, right?
Yep.
And you just do it. You find the time because it's a priority for you to get it done, right?
Mhm.
So I think that's some of the problem. You might think it should be his, at the top of his priority list, but for whatever reason, he doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else do they suggest you do?
In what? In the DMO or
Yeah.
just
What else do they do every day?
Mm.
I'm just curious.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of focus on revenue generating activities. So what are the things
Yeah.
that are going to make you money? And so, there'll be a lot of people who will say, well, I worked in my jewelry room all day today. Well, you know what? Organizing your jewel, like moving this stuff over here and this stuff, or whatever, that's not necessarily going to make you money. So it's just focusing on, so if you are building a team, you're spending time coaching your team. You're spending time on social media. So there's a whole bunch of work that can be done to boost your algorithm. So there's all of this stuff, messaging people and interacting with people. So there's that. There's, of course, selling, going live. There's free time.
Are you scheduling free time?
Well, so
Like
when
we're
I
just like trades?
laid my time out, so it's not free time, it's family time. So it shows up as family time. And I have not shown this to Bill, the spreadsheet, and everything is color blocked. And so out of the 7 days, the amount of time that's family time, it's literally when we eat dinner.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That doesn't surprise us, I don't think, Kitty. You're so busy. I often wonder how you fit in any extra time.
Yeah. I don't know. So, I mean, the things are just very, very specific to the business.
Yeah.
But, ooh, you guys, I just got my photography back today.
Was it good? You loving it?
Yes. I just took a real quick look and then I sent the link to Bill. So, yeah, I went and had some professional photography done because I have to send one in to paparazzi for a convention. And I'm very excited. I'll share them with you soon.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
But
You're
yeah,
not
how
gonna-
do we?
You're not going to use your AI generated headshots?
No, because AI doesn't pull in jewelry. I mean, it does.
Oh.
It, you know,
Oh.
I guess it
Not your
does.
jewelry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pulls in a little
Yeah.
bit. Pulls in a little bit of jewelry. Yeah, but I
Yeah.
needed to have. Yeah, I
Yeah.
needed to have big, bold jewelry.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
We do need to have a conversation about AI.
Yeah, we should.
I met a woman. At a networking thing that actually has her own AI company and how to use it for
Okay.
the benefit of your work.
Okay.
She was very delightful. And I felt like an absolute idiot after talking to her and then Googling her. I'm like, holy shit, what was she doing talking to me? I don't know what the hell, you know? She's an award-winning TV producer. She's,
Wow.
you know, on some different stuff and got a cool thing. I don't know. We could possibly pull her in and help her, you know, pick her brain a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be great. I use ChatGPT every single day, multiple times a day.
Yeah. I love
And
it.
yeah, love it. And I'd like to know more from someone like that because, you know, more than just like for me, I'll say, make me a list of, you know, if
Mhm.
I'm going to go interview somebody, create an interview list for, you know, I'll put the person in and this is what we're going to talk about. And boom, there are my interview questions. That stuff is really easy, but I know that there are more strategic things that can be done as well.
Yeah.
Strategic inputs into it, you know,
Yes.
so you
Yeah. I
get
think
out what you
prompts
want.
are a big thing.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
then to make sure you get the tone right. The tone
Yes.
that reflects
Yes.
your personality.
Right.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
doesn't read as AI generated.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So since we should probably make that a whole show because I think
Yeah.
we could. So that's a future topic because we
Yeah.
could go into that pretty deep. Not that we're, you know, experts by all means, but I bet there's people that have no idea what we were just talking about.
Mhm.
I'm guessing.
Right. Agree.
Can you imagine how awesome our Christmas cards could have been if we would have had Chat GPT?
I know.
Or how
Yeah.
ridiculous they could have
Yes.
been?
Right.
Funny though. They could have
Funny. Yeah.
I appreciate the humor and stuff.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
Yes.
all
I'm
right.
pretty curious on dropping this topic that we were just talking about into Chat GPT. Maybe I'll do that before we
Mhm.
have our next conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would like to know really how are other people keeping themselves organized?
Yes. Give us
Is
some ideas.
and it you don't have to have a side hustle to
Right.
have to be organized. I mean, we're active people. Just
Mhm.
because we don't have kids in the house does not mean I still like I said, I only have to take care of one person. And I didn't know I had Monday off. So,
Yeah.
you know, clearly my notebook isn't I mean, that might have to do with paying attention, but nevertheless, I can't believe I'm the only one who gets
Yeah.
confused. And I've heard people say, you know, they're retired. Well, every day is Saturday to me.
Yeah.
And I think to myself, okay, I'm confused enough as to what day it is. I
I
don't need
know.
every day to be Saturday.
No.
What do you and also when people say they're going to retire at our age, I'm like, what are you going to do
Yeah.
with all this time?
Yep.
How are
Good
you going to
question. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Everybody thinks having a whole bunch of free time and nobody to have to worry about is a grand old thing, but I can't believe that that's quite that way. Maybe the first few months that would seem delightful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But then what?
But then what?
Yeah. Then what? Got to do something.
Imagine
Yep.
how confused I could get with a whole bunch of volunteer opportunities.
Oh my.
Which day you're doing what?
Yeah, where
You
am I
got
supposed
it.
to be today? Yeah, if found, return to. I can imagine that's how that's going to go at some point.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll keep working on this topic. Yeah, send us your ideas. If you have things, tools, tactics, strategies that that work for you, our listeners and watchers, viewers. We would love the input.
We
Yes, and hopefully look for more social media posts from 3 Cocktails In.
Yes.
would. We'll try to get more organized at that. Yes.
We're going to block some time to
Yes,
get
we
things
will.
done.
Yes. we
All
will.
right.
All right, we'll see you, ladies.
Cheers,
next
ladies.
week. Okay.
Bye.
Cheers.
All right. Woo. Look. I got that wow. Who wants some hands up right now? We got that. Turn it up loud. I know you're wondering how. I got that wow. Here I go, coming. I can't ever stop. I'm a tour de force running. Get me to the top. I don't need an invitation. I'm about to start a celebration. Let me in. Brought a good time plus some friends. Turn it up loud past